Today is a chance to balance the scales of justice and give those victims the voice they need and the power to make it heard. But it's a chance the government has missed. The government's proposals don't go far enough, and they will be too weak as they currently stand to prevent cover-ups in future. The public advocate needs to be a fully independent, permanent figure accountable to the families, not a panel of advisers appointed by the government, if they see fit, as a signposting service. It's critical that the public advocate has the full power of a data controller, not just the power to make representations, as we just heard from the Secretary of State. That means the power to access all data, communications, documents and other information to torpedo cover-ups before they can even happen. Now, we know from the Hillsborough Independent Panel that the existence of these powers would be a massive deterrent to future cover-ups. So, I would ask the Justice Secretary, will he reconsider and establish a fully independent public advocate? And will he agree to give them the full power of data controller right from the start? This matters immensely because without control over data that can expose the truth, there can be no transparency. And without transparency, there can be no justice. Now I have to ask, how many more tragedies will it take to wake this government up? How many more lives need to be lost? Labour is committed to real change. In government, we will establish a fully independent public advocate accountable to survivors and to victims and families, and we will arm them with the power they need to access documents and data to expose the truth about what went wrong, and importantly, to stop cover-ups before they can happen. That will be part of a Hillsborough law with teeth that will also give them access to legal aid and impose a duty of candour on public officials. We'll do that because we believe victims must be at the heart of the justice system, because we believe victims must have a voice and the power to make it heard, because we understand that a system that fails to learn from its mistakes is doomed to repeat them.
Thank you, Madam His partial welcome of this announcement. I listened very carefully to what he said. I have to say, we share, and I share with him personally, the commitment and the desire to set up the most credible advocacy for the bereaved and victims of of the tragedy in question. It would act on their behalf. Of course, for Hillsborough survivors and the bereaved, that terrible day was just the beginning of a 34-year ordeal. It was followed by an appalling injustice. Fans blamed their own injuries. Survivors and bereaved blocked at every turn in their search for answers. And frankly, Madam Deputy Speaker, we must learn the lessons of Hillsborough, and we must make sure that they never happen again. In terms of the wider context, major disasters involving significant loss of life are mercifully quite rare. But as Hillsborough, the Manchester bombings have shown, when they do happen, victims, families and the communities reflected and represented have not received the answers to their questions, have not received the support they need. And we are duty-bound as a government, as a house, to make sure that doesn't happen again, and to ensure positively that those families, those communities, never again have to struggle in anguish against a system created to help them in order to get the truth and some measure of accountability. And Deputy Speaker, the independent public advocate goes some way to making good on this government's long-standing promise to ensure that that pain, that suffering of the Hillsborough victims and other victims is never repeated again. I can tell the House it will be passed into law, it will be made up of a panel of experts to guide survivors and the bereaved in the aftermath of a major disaster. And it will deliver for them practical support to families of the deceased or their representatives who have suffered a devastating or life-changing injury. This practical support includes things like helping investigations against